I kindly request everybody to be seated. We'll be starting momentarily.
Start right now. It's okay. But when the minister comes, you should stop. Huh? Whoever is speaking, we request to stop, and we'll give a bouquet only for the minister. Nobody else bouquet. Only bouquet for the minister. Huh? And yeah, so we will stop. And the minister, I told them, just stop. Whoever is speaking, just stop. Just request, say the honorable minister has arrived. And
ये दोनों माइक है ना, आप ऐसे करके ठीक है, ये एक साथ रखना, एक साथ ही रखना, ऐसा मत।
wait for 30 seconds. No, minister नहीं है. Whenever he comes, whenever he walks in, he just
Secretary, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, Joint Secretary, DPIIT, dignitaries of the Organizing Committee of Startup Mahakumbh 2025, and our valued friends from the startup ecosystem joining us today, both in person and virtually. We are joined today by some of the people who have shaped our journey, India's journey in the startup landscape, from government, from industry, from institutions that have helped turn intent into outcomes. May I request Honorable Secretary DPIIT, Joint Secretary DPIIT, Mr. Sanjay Nair, representative of the Organizing Committee, to kindly ceremoniously light the lamp as an auspicious beginning of Startup Mahakumbh 2025. Thank you, sir. I, Pratiti from Startup India, DPIIT.
And I, Aditya from Rukam Capital, are honored to welcome you all to this momentous occasion as we come together to celebrate the second edition of Startup Mahakumbh, commemorating the extraordinary journey of India's entrepreneurial landscape. The inaugural edition was graced by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, whose inspiring keynote address resonated deeply with the audience. After a phenomenal debut, which saw 1,300 plus startup exhibitors, 48,000 plus business visitors, 392 top-tier speakers, 5,000 plus delegates, 200 plus investors, and 4,000 plus aspiring entrepreneurs, this event returns even bigger and better.
Building on this success, Startup Mahakumbh themed Startup India at 2047, Unfolding the Bharat Story, will be a grand convergence of innovation and entrepreneurship. The event will feature 3,000 plus exhibiting startups across 11 thematic pavilions, attracting 1,000 plus investors and incubators, 10,000 plus delegates, and 50,000 plus business visitors from 50 plus countries. 30 plus states and union territories of India are also participating. Thank you so much, everyone. The event is led by FICCI in collaboration with ASSOCHAM, IVCA, NASSCOM, and other key industry stakeholders with support from the National Startup Advisory Council, Startup India, and DPIIT. I encourage all of you to please download the app, which is available, and so that you are able to connect with everyone that is present in the festival. India has always been a land of possibility, but today that possibility wears a new face. It wears the ambition of a founder in Indore, the persistence of a tinkerer in Shillong, and the quiet courage of a woman entrepreneur in Amethi. This is not the center stage of Delhi, it is the beating heart of Bharat.
नए समाधान विकसित करने से लेकर रोजगार के अवसर उत्पन्न करने तक, महिला उद्यमियों को मजबूत करने से लेकर समावेश और विविधता की संस्कृति को बढ़ावा देने तक, स्टार्टअप महाकुंभ ने सचमुच भारत में उद्यमिता की परिभाषा को फिर से परिभाषित किया है. Startup Mahakumbh isn't just about panels and pavilions. It is about forging connections that turn into capital, ideas that become impact, and intent that becomes history. And in that spirit, it is my honor to welcome the architects, stewards, and champions of this movement. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause and join us in welcoming our distinguished dignitaries. Shri Satyanarayan Meena, ACEO and Chief Financial Officer, GEM. Shri Rajesh Nambiar, President, NASSCOM. Shri Sanjay Nair, President, ASSOCHAM. Shri Manoj Mittal, Chairman and Managing Director, SIDBI. Shri Ajay Bhadu, CEO, GEM. Shri Harshvardhan Agarwal, President, FICCI. Shri Shrishtaraj Ambhasta, Chairman, ECGC. Shri Arun Singh, Chairman, ONGC, IOCL. Shri Amardeep Singh Bhatia, Secretary, DPIIT. Shri Jual Oram, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India. Shri Jatin, so a huge round of applause that echoes the gratitude of a nation, please.
To begin our proceedings with insight and intent, I now invite to the podium a voice that has been pivotal in shaping procurement innovation in India, Shri Satyanarayan Meena, ACEO and Chief Financial Officer of Government E-Marketplace, GEM.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Namaste. On behalf of organizing committee, I welcome Sri Amardeep Singh Bhatia, Secretary DPIIT, Sri Ajay Bhadu, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and CEO JM, Sri Sanjeev, Joint Secretary DPIIT, Sri Arun Singh, Chairman ONGC, Sri Manoj Mittal, Chairman and Managing Director SIDBI, Sri Harshvardhan Agrawal, President FICCI, Sri Sanjay Nair, President SHM, Sri Sanjay Nambiar, President NASCOM, and Sri Raj Ambasta, Chairman ECGC, members of organizing committee, other officer and dignitaries on the dais, members of Startup Advisory Committee, distinguished guests, investors, entrepreneurs, friends from media, and all stakeholders from India and around the world. Welcome to second edition of Startup Mahakumbh. What we have witnessed today is more than just an event. It's celebration of possibility at a defining milestone in India's startup journey. This year marks nearly a decade since the launch of Startup India program, a transformative initiative inaugurated in 2016 under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi sir. In these years, we have seen Indian startup grow from modest beginning into global disruptors. The numbers tells part of the story. Over 1,60,000 registered startups, more than 100 unicorns, and over 1.6 million jobs created. But beyond these figures lies a more powerful truth. Entrepreneurship in India is no longer privilege of a few. It has become the aspiration of the many. Walk through the halls today and you will see it. A young founder from Bhubaneswar building climate tech solution for smallholders farmers. A group of women from Tiruchirappalli is digitizing handicraft by selling them directly through GEM platform. A deep tech team from Shimla developing India's next generation energy AI solutions. A young entrepreneur from Ranchi is enhancing national security by developing an AI-enabled security and drone surveillance system under the IDEX initiative. This is the new India, and we are here to celebrate where innovation is being imagined not just to metropolitan hubs, but in the field of Nasik and the classroom of Shillong's Northeast. This Mahakumbh brings together all Ministry of Government of India, incubators, investors, corporates, academia, 1,000 of entrepreneurs who are here not just to exhibit, but to connect, collaborate, and create the future together. My heartfelt thanks to all those who made this event possible, the organizing committee, our sponsor, and each one of you for being here. Welcome again to this Mahakumbh of ideas, ambition, and impact. Let's building begin. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद, जय भारत.
Thank you, Shri Meena. Your words are a reminder that when driven by purpose, we can all accelerate the dreams of thousands of startups in Bharat. Now, please welcome Shri Rajesh Nambiar, President of NASCOM, a leader at the forefront of not just enabling India with tech, but empowering it for the future.
Good morning. It's an amazing opportunity for me to be here with all my friends and dignitaries on the dais here, all of you, most especially all the startups who actually been able to show up for this event. And I know that we are doing this for the second time, and a phenomenal amount of response. NASCOM as an enabler for some of this. I think we're thrilled to be part of this initiative mostly by the government, but also by the private sector in many ways. Huge thank you for all of you for showing up. And I believe that this is going to change the nature and the fabric of what we do for startups in India, right? So that's going to be something which I'm looking forward to in many ways. So it's a lot of pride, and I really want to thank the organizers for having me here on the stage, and then sort of connecting with you sort of articulating what we believe are the things that we need to do for the startup ecosystem broadly. But let me begin with some sort of an unwavering belief, which I think all of us should have at some point in time. I think the India's vision of Viksit Bharat 2047 will be shaped not just by the economic growth and what follows solution. So that's going to be the belief. And to even get closer to that, and or even if you want to say we want to achieve the ambition of becoming these 7 trillion economy for India, and I think the tech sector alone will have to contribute roughly about $1 billion, about $1 trillion in terms of GDP, and this will have to drive innovation that won't just solve India's problem, but also global problems from these startups. So I think that's something which will change the trajectory of what we do. It's because of the fact that there is no GDP growth for any sector without that being led by technology. So if you look at any sector, whether it is healthcare, whether it is financial services, etc., I think the core of these sectors will have to pivot into what technology will help them to drive. So I believe that technology will play a huge role in all of that. So it's also not enough if we just imagining a better tomorrow, but it's important for us to build it today, because you can always, all of us sit and imagine, but somebody will have to build it. And I believe that this group, especially the startup group, will have to start thinking about how are we going to build this future of India, which is all of us will be proud of. And I believe there are a few imperatives, and I'll probably share just one or two of them in the positive time. One is, of course, India has a very, very good position in terms of global startup landscape. We have improved significantly year over year, and thanks to all of you and to the good work that all of you are doing. We today, India as a country, stands as the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. Our startup, base, according to our own estimate from NASSCOM, is roughly about 35,000 strong, and I think it's a very, very good number for us to, stay behind. Last year, we added second highest number of unicorns globally, which is a huge testimony for India as a country, because we were never in the picture for a long period of time. Now that we are able to make a significant impact, especially around the technology startup side, we believe that this is going to make a huge difference. We also witnessed tech startups IPOs triple in 2024 compared to 2023. So there's a lot of momentum. It's not just about like rising momentum, but it's compounding year on year, which gives us the confidence that this is going to be something which will be a huge differentiator for us as a nation. Also in 2024, our tech sector contributed a staggering $283 billion in terms of the broader contribution. And this accounts roughly for about 7.3% of our GDP. So very, very crucial step towards our journey towards Viksit Bharat, as we can say it that way. The second point I want to make is that our technological sovereignty, or tech sovereignty as it's called, is becoming a national imperative. And again, some could argue that for India to be truly emerging as a developed nation, we must achieve this tech sovereignty, a future where we are not just users of technology, but we are actually creators and builders of technology, or transformative technology as we move forward. More to come in that, but I think this also means that we are leading in patents, not just platforms. We're going to be shaping standards, not just following them. We are going to be owning IP that drives global progress. And the deep tech ecosystem will be the fulcrum of this transformation, enabling us to lead with the world, creating solutions that actually tackles truly the humanity's toughest problems, both nationally as well as internationally. Our deep tech startup ambition needs action. This is my third point I want to make, will be to address some of the structural gaps that we see in the ecosystem. And I believe that we can contribute a lot as a team to get that done. Clearly, there are a few issues that we will deal with, not just today, but the days forward. One is, of course, a better understanding of the valuation models for the deep tech ventures. We need to understand. And of course, a stronger collaboration between academia, industry, and of course, the government. I mean, this is a beautiful tripartite, irrespective of what we do, whether it is technology skills, be it, truly being there for the startup ecosystem. These triage of government in one end, industry, and then the academia. I think this is a good combination. We've seen it work in some areas. We haven't seen it work in some other areas. I think a lot to be done for that triage, if you may. Increased global patent filing. Of course, we do a very good job today of filing a good amount of IPs domestically, but we also have to get better at doing this globally. NASSCOM has done and some partnered with some of the governments, for instance, government of Karnataka recently, in terms of having an IP framework. So I think we'll continue to sort of double down on some of this to make sure that we show up better in terms of the national stage for IP filing. Higher R&D investment. I think today everybody's going to talk about that, and so I won't belabor the point, but that is going to be a critical point for us to sort of truly get this up and running. So way forward, when you look at where we're going to go from here, to realize this whole Viksit Bharat 2047 goal for all of us have, and our Prime Minister has us for this country, we need to support the deep tech ecosystem in several areas. One, patient capital. I mean, nobody will disagree with me in this room. There's a lot of discussion around risk capital. How do you make sure that there is going to be patient capital? So I won't belabor the point, but I think the government is doing a lot. There's a lot of stuff has to happen from the private sector. Funding is going to be a big discussion throughout today, and then the rest of our path to getting there. Ease of doing business, especially around regulation, something which we've sort of beaten around quite a bit. I think the key would be to get it there. Domestic and and also global market access, including government procurement. I'm so glad to see the GEM folks here. Thank you for doing what you now just talking to Ajay. I think great progress in GEM over the period of time. I think that's something which we'll continue to double down and then ensure that we're going to get where we want to get there. Skilled emerging technology talent. I mean, we take a lot of pride in saying we have a lot of talent in India, but let's not forget that the future of the talent ecosystem is going to be very, very different from what we see today. So are we getting ready to make sure that we are able to do that? Innovation hubs, etc. So at NASSCOM, I just also want to mention that we are deeply committed in empowering this journey through our Deep Tech Council. I see Kritika sitting on the third row, second row, whatever it is. So Kritika, thank you for doing what you're doing. Great ambition, great way to make sure that we are able to get the deep tech startup ecosystem and the council working very, very well. We work with startups, industry leaders, policymakers, all alike. Lots of progress. Initiatives like Future Skills Prime. I talked about the skill set need and what we can do better with skill sets. That's something which we'll continue to double down as well. So I just want to stop by saying India's deep tech movement is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not next year. It's now. So this is our clarion call, if you may. So let's make this deep tech from India a global hallmark of innovation and excellence. So with that, thank you very much for being here, and I wish you all a very, very good conference the next 2 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri Nambiar. You have shown us that India's digital depth is not just an asset, it's an advantage. I now invite Sri Sanjay Nair, President of ASSOCHAM, to the dais, a leader who has long believed that ambition and capital must move together.
Good morning, everyone. I won't repeat all the names. Everyone on the dais, Secretary Bhatia. First, I want to compliment just the energy and the passion that DPIIT, this arm of the government, and Ministry of Commerce brings to making this a reality. So, Secretary Bhatia, to you and to your JS Sanjeevji, excellent work. Thank you very much for your support. These things don't come along that easily otherwise. And yes, of course, the organizing committee. I just want to take not more than 2 minutes. I think just remind ourselves the Indian startup system has definitely matured, and it's not about conceiving it or starting it. We are seeing startups play a critical role in agriculture, healthcare, financial inclusion, just about everywhere. What I want to emphasize is that, to get bigger and bolder, I think we need to have a lot more financing. And I think the financing needs are actually quite daunting. If you see and you believe in getting this to be a big driver for Viksit Bharat. Our vision for Viksit Bharat fundamentally relies on the fact that we are going to be globally competitive and innovation driven. And while we have raised over 150 billion in the last decade, I think we need a lot more capital. And I think towards that, we must make sure that we strategically channel this capital, not just towards growth, but towards building fundamentally deep tech, sustainable solutions. I think that is critical. And that is something that This time, the thematic pavilions do lend to that AI, deep tech, and defense. So I think it's very critical we focus on that. The second aspect of financing is we need to diversify not just VC, but away from VC as well, and add on to it some other innovative mechanisms that startups need. They don't always need venture capital. They need debt financing. Obviously, we need public financing and state financing options. And towards that, it must complement folks at SIDBI who have been a big catalyst, as we all know, with the first 10,000 crore and now another fund of funds. So thank you very much, Mr. Mittal, to SP Singh. I think you guys do a great job. And we see on AIFs where you put your stamp, we get a massive multiplier of being able to raise money. So this is just a great catalytic role with high quality teams. So thank you for that. The other point I want to make, the financing will have to be a lot more patient. And I think Rajesh mentioned that. Financing the future to 47 means that 47 means that we will have to decisively invest in fundamental R&D and deep tech sectors like AI and biotech, space tech, and advanced materials. And none of this is going to come definitively without failure and requires much longer time horizons. So the need for patient capital is absolutely key. The last point I want to make is we will need to think very hard about how to activate more domestic pools. I think we're seeing the advent of high net worth families, family offices, but I think there is one big domestic pool, and that's addressed to Secretary Bhatia. I think we've got to make sure that we can get the insurance and the pension funds in India, which is the largest private pool in the country, for that matter, in any country, to allocate even 1 to 2% of the capital towards startups. And that would unlock vast resources for our ecosystem if you want to get to 2047. So in closing, I think by strategically deploying diverse capital, fostering innovation, and creating an enabling environment, which I think is here to see, I think we can definitely ensure that our startups can become bigger and bolder. And like I said, a lot more futuristic looking, which is very critical. Thank you.
Thank you, Srinaya. You've captured the bridge between private sector optimism and national ambition beautifully. Next, please welcome Shri Manoj Mittal, CMD of SIDBI, an institution that continues to see trust where risk once ruled.
Respected Secretary, sir, dignitaries on the dais, and the startup fraternity. I'm a bit excited. Excitement of not a 57-year-old, but the childlike excitement. I missed it last year. So this is an opportunity to catch up. And topics, sessions, 3 days, galaxy of speakers, who is who of startup, business, LPGP meets, so many startups in this hall, in this mandapam. So I'm a bit excited. And the topic given to me is strengthening startup financing role of SIDBI in building a robust entrepreneurial system. And after Mr. Nair has set the ball rolling, very, very sharp observations he has made. So, I was just looking in the morning, the etymology of the word startup, and it says, come suddenly into being. And we bankers, we don't like sudden. We like, something, a trajectory which is predictable, which is, that very definition says the bankers have to equip themselves. They can't go by the old definitions, by the old, algorithms they apply for judging a project and all. So that's where the challenge, that's where the need for an institution like SIDBI arises. And if I can say, I will take a bit, into the history, 1999, 25 years ago, 26 years ago, SIDBI has taken a few steps. We started investing into AIFs, 1999, Kitwan, Gujarat Venture Capital, Rajasthan. So there were state level funds which were supported. SIDBI did feel the need at the time. So, and after that, we started a venture capital company. Another AIF was set up. That's an asset management company. SIDBI Venture Capital Limited was started 25 years back. And it has, it's invested into 150 companies. And fintechs, some of the leading names have been funded, equity funded by this SIDBI Venture Capital Limited. And now they would be going for the space tech. So 1,000 crore fund of in space they would be implementing.
And SIDBI also has done some IPOs at the time. So since last 25 years, SIDBI has been into this space. 2010, we came with debt products for the startups. There was a startup assistance scheme. In fact, it was in partnership with NASSCOM. We did some 70 cases, but there were certain learnings, and we found that probably this was slightly ahead of the times, and startups were not ready to absorb the debt because there is a guarantee element which comes into it. There is a personal guarantee element comes into it.
Can we have a huge round of applause to welcome Minister of State, Honorable Shri Jitin Prasad Sir, Minister of State for Commerce and Industry and Electronics and Information Technology. Welcome, sir.
With the permission, can I? Yeah, thank you. No. So it was in partnership with NASSCOM. So debt financing also took place about 70 startups. We did learn our experiences. And now it was 2016, and there was a jumbo in the room, and it was fund of fund for startups. I think the scale which it brought to the whole industry, funded by DPIIT, Government of India, so and SIDBI as a channelizing agency, as a management agency for that particular fund. I mean, that's what has changed the whole equation, whole game, fund of fund for startups. That has been a game changer. And in fact, the size, the policy which was formulated at the DPIIT, combined with the experience of SIDBI, the agility of SIDBI. Actually, I was coining a word, and then I realized it's something jumbo plus tiger, so jamti. I think this jodi has been quite jamti. So we have learned from our experiences. Now I won't detail on the performance of fund of fund for startups in this session, but now we are trying to take it to the new level, the startup financing to the new level, as Mr. Nair has also said, and we are getting backward seed stage. We have tied up with incubators, and we have started investing directly into the seed stage startups as well. Beyond FFS, we are getting into the growth stages. Venture debt, a good portfolio has been created, and our direct exposures are being taken by by SIDBI as well. And then next would be MSME IPOs. If you would have seen a lot of new age IPOs, they prefer the main board. New companies are not preferring small boards. So our efforts would be, to take them to the small boards so that it should not wait for that kind of a capital to come in, that kind of a size to attain and then go for public. Probably we can shorten this particular cycle. That would be another area. Two areas which I would like to flag here would be, we need to work on the capacity building of incubators and also grassroots entrepreneurship, because a BCG study just mentioned that 40% of the startups, they generally successful startups, they come from premier institutes. While 1.68 lakh startups are there in the country, DPIIT registered, there is a need to take it to more grassroots. So these two areas I'll flag, and we'll look for partnership cooperation. SIDBI on of its own also would be taking steps further. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity to me.
Thank you, Mittal sir. Your leadership has made the language of finance accessible to the language of innovation. Now inviting Shri Ajay Bhadu, CEO of GEM, Government e-Marketplace, the platform that has proven that procurement can become propulsion.
Good morning, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Secretary Shri Bhatia sir, the dignitaries present on the dais, innovators, and the fellow change makers. I'm representing Government e-Marketplace, and talking of startup, the journey so far has been a journey of innovation, inclusivity, and sustainability. And the journey from here onwards is going to be driven by three key factors, which is the demographic dividend that we have, unparalleled digital adoption that India is seeing, and the global relevance of our position, which is unique to this journey. Straight away, I'm not roll out data on the startups because that is the DPIIT secretary is here. It has come a long way since 2016. For the key drivers, next 25 years, as we look at towards 2047, to my mind, are four drivers basically. One is the enabling policy and regulatory environment that reduces the compliance burden, protects IP, and nurtures risk taking. Second is the rise globally of the deep tech, AI, climate tech, space tech. These are the areas where India can really lead. Third is the role of startups in the sustainable and inclusive growth, which includes solving problem not just for India, but for Bharat also. And fourthly, we have the world-class digital public infrastructure, which is there in form of UPI, Aadhaar, and of course, GEM. So talking of GEM, we started our journey. GEM itself is a startup, if you ask me. So it started its journey from a modest 422 crores of the gross merchandise value back in FY 2016, 2017. And from there onwards, in the last 8 years, we have come a long way. And this year, we crossed 5.5 lakhs gross merchandise value and the overall cumulative value of 13 lakh crores of the orders that we have done on GEM. So it is perfectly in keeping with our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of minimum government and maximum governance. And GEM is catering almost, there are almost 1.6 lakh government buyers. Everybody is on GEM. We are still including more and more as far as the states are concerned. We are having pan-India sellers and service providers across more than 10,000 product categories and more than 330 service categories. We have an end-to-end digital infrastructure and thereby eliminating the intermediaries and democratizing the access for sellers, and particularly for sellers like startups and MSMEs. As of today, we have 30,000 startups which are registered with GEM, and that's a large number. And we have already done a business of more than 38,500 crores for the startups alone. So GEM actually offers unique benefits in terms of startups in terms of access to the market and access to the value addition. They can, it allows them to list their product catalog with minimal technical specifications and proper market valuation, and also enables direct purchase and also enables, actual product prices, purchase on the actual product prices. So addressing the challenge of finding the right market fit for the GEM, for the startups, GEM has started a unique program called Startup Runway in 2019. And this initiative has served as a dedicated storefront for startups, allowing DPIT registered startups who are having disruptive products which can be showcased in the GEM platform and through this exclusive listing. So that is what the GEM Startup Runway program has done. And we are, having various categories across 14 globally recognized and nationally relevant subsectors, which are mostly to do with the innovation and, deep tech kind of stuff. Currently, there are more than 1,500 products which are listed on the GEM Startup Runway storefront. This is a subset of the GEM platform. And more than 9,000 orders have come on this subset itself. So GEM is one of the pillars of GEM is inclusivity, apart from the efficiency and transparency. And in that particular value, we are very, very strong and very, very committed to onboard more and more startups, women-led startups, more and more MSMEs. So the road to, from here onwards, the road to 2047, what we are committed to are, four things. One is we are committed to driving innovation through government demand. Somebody was talking about the predictability. The bankers are talking about the predictability. Well, government demand is massive and government demand is predictable. Whether it is healthcare, IT, service, education tools, or logistics, startups can really tap into demand to build scalability and credibility. Procurement through GEM allows the government to become an early adopter of innovative solutions, accelerating the path for the startups for commercialization of their products and their wider adoption. Second pillar is going to be creating an enabling ecosystem for which DPIT is constantly innovating, constantly coming out with policies which are creating this enabling ecosystem. And beyond transactions, GEM is building an enabling ecosystem through startup discovery and matchmaking, integration with the incubators and accelerators. We are continuously doing that. We are also doing the capacity building for the startup onboarding, so that more and more startups are onboarded on GEM. And we just a data for you that most of our learning e-learning ecosystem is utilized. 70% of it is utilized by the startups and the MSMEs. That goes to show that a lot of capacity building is being done through this platform, and also policy advocacy and pro-startup procurement reforms. Going forward for the futuristic planning, we want to multifold increase in the startups that are registered on GEM. 30,000 is not enough. So we are looking at many, many more startups being registered on the GEM. We are also looking and working with all the ministries to dedicated innovation procurement cell in every ministry, so that the startups which are related to the sectors can be encouraged. Going forward, we are also very, very actively working for a robust framework for the proof of concept procurement, which is the need of the time as far as startups are concerned. And we look forward that India becomes a global model for the startup government collaboration. To the startups who are present here, I appeal to them that come to GEM, participate and use it as a launch pad. To the government buyers, some of them are here also. I appeal to them that you have to embrace innovation. You have to make sure that the startups who are particularly the problem solvers in the particular sectors, they are encouraged not only to be onboarded, but also to offer their products, and their products are get the visibility and the scalability through your efforts. And also the departments and the procurement agencies, they have to become champions of the change. Let's work together and unlock the true potential of public procurement in driving startup growth, inclusive development, and Atmanirbhar Bharat. There is a GEM pavilion here, and I urge all of you, after the inauguration, which will be inaugurated by the Minister, I urge you to visit Hall 5, and visit GEM pavilion, and those who have not visited, we have also put up a dedicated facility for a quick registration for them, so that more and more people come to GEM, explore GEM, and expand their business. I thank the organizers to have invited me and come over here and invited me to speak on this. Thank you. Jai.
Thank you so much, Sri Babu, for sharing GEM's story as well as the vision to become the quiet revolution behind so many more startup stories. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we invite to stage Sri Shrishti Raj Ambastha, Chairman of ECGC, to address us all.
Honorable Minister of State, Commerce and Industry, dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor for me to stand here before you as a proud partner in the second edition of Startup Mahakumbh, which is a festival of ideas, resilience, and groundbreaking ventures. Startups are the heartbeats of a thriving economy, and this platform serves as a catalyst, bringing together the brilliant minds, the groundbreaking ideas together at this platform. As a partner in this journey, ECGC believes in fostering a culture of an ecosystem, which is where the ideas transform into impact and potential turns into reality. This event is not just about networking, it is about building partnerships, and that is going to redefine the industries. Startups are the backbone of a nation's progress. They are the torch bearers of change and the architects of the future. However, the path of entrepreneurship is very challenging. You may face market uncertainties, financial constraints, and global competition. But remember that every great enterprise today was once just an idea nurtured with perseverance. The Government of India's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Startup India is actually paving the way for a uh, self-reliant and innovation-driven economy. Startup Mahakumbh aligns perfectly with this mission by empowering the entrepreneurs, creating job opportunities, and driving technological advancements. Through initiatives like Skill India, Digital India, Make in India, our nation is fostering a culture of entrepreneurship. This event today is a crucial step in that direction. Uh, we are excited to support this journey, to witness the spirit of entrepreneurship in its purest form, and to be a part of a movement that strengthens India's startup landscape. So let us make this edition of Startup Mahakumbh a milestone in the innovation story of our nation. Let us build an India which is not just self-reliant, but also a global leader in innovation and enterprise. ECGC, as an export credit agency, has always been playing a stellar role in supporting the export endeavors of Indian exporters. As an ECA, ECGC is mandated to support the exports in difficult times, in good and bad times. We have the example of the recent example of COVID pandemic or the Great Economic Depression of 2008. The ECAs like ECGC step up their intervention in difficult times. We also did at the time of pandemic when we brought out a host of stimulus measures for Indian exporters and help the exporters minimize their losses, their defaults and claims. So at the end, I would like to wish all the entrepreneurs all the very best. Let your ideas soar and your dreams become a reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shri Avastha. And our thanks to ECGC for being the shield and signal for our startups as they look to explore globally. Up next, we welcome Shri Arun Singh, Chairman of ONGC, to the podium to address us all.
Honorable MOS, Secretary Mr. Bhatia, all the dignitaries and dais, all the entrepreneurs, all the startup companies, the reps, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm just here to give you three small things. First and foremost, I represent oil and gas. Oil and gas in India is $300 billion affair. It is still massive. And all I can tell you that if we have to align our India, everybody, with the Viksit Bharat goal of 2047 and net zero by 2070, the area which probably, I'm not saying we have the little oil and gas guys have always had contempt. I want to not stick my neck out. The size of opportunity that oil and gas offers is still very few sectors can offer, at least for the next 20 years. Why I am saying that, this I will lay in 4 points. First point is finding cost. Oil and gas finding cost today, the process is very lengthy, technology is cumbersome. The seismic survey based on which we decide the well location to locate oil or gas, and seismic data processing is still most cumbersome, takes around a year. And this is the opportunity here. Finding oil and gas, because if we go to a wrong location to drill a well, we may miss oil and gas just 20 kilometers away. And we can't drill every square kilometer. So this is one opportunity I say the techies particularly have massive opportunity to do exploration because we are oil and gas deficit country. We import a lot. And therefore, it is for Viksit Bharat, there can't be a better contribution than this. Second point we wanted to say is production. We leave for every 100 liter oil below ground, we leave 65 liter behind. We produce only 35. And 65 remains below because it loses pressure and therefore the enhanced oil recovery, all those mechanisms come. But still, with all the mechanisms, world is still at 35% level. So 65% is still left in the ground, known to us. So you can guess the opportunity there. If somebody can make a difference of 1%, what kind of money it can generate? Third thing is energy efficiency. Out of $3 billion value chain from crude to refining to pipeline to customer, if you improve 5%, it is 15 billion. That is the kind of money that even small improvements gives. So efficiency improvement is scope everywhere. You come anywhere, we consume a lot of energy. ONGC, I can tell you, 20% of our own gas production we consume for ourselves, for just producing that gas. 20% if you take today, if you reduce even by 2%, 3%, you can count the amount of money that it can generate. So first thing we wanted to say, besides efficiency, is the renewables. Renewables in India has to be Viksit and net zero by 2030. Fourth most important thing is renewable. That space also, today also, if you know, those who are connected with this radiation factor and all that, there is a huge opportunity to keep improving there. So probably improvers in our system, the continuous improvements, somehow we are not as good as some cultures. But now I find with a great hope with this startup system that improvements can be entrusted to this group. And then you have enough financial reward waiting for you because the size of the issue is so mammoth. ONGC for its part, we had 100 crore fund, we added 200 crore this year, but compared to what DPET does or CP does is peanut. But still, we had some good success stories, so we want to bat more for this. And my invitation to you would be that in any area that you find, now we have, earlier our limit was 10 crore per seed capital, now we have made 25 crore. Earlier it was only early seed, now it is a middle stage companies also can go to 25 crore. But still, if there is more to be done, so this is what I'm saying, mobility is here to stay. As long as people grow, they will be mobile. As long as they are mobile, they will need energy. And as long as they need energy, it will be 10 to 15% of the economy. In any shape or form we try to choose. So improvement opportunity, how much I've just summarized. Opportunity to explore, opportunity to produce more, opportunity to improve efficiency, and opportunity to do wonders on a global scale, because there also ACDC, you know that miners will know better, that how much energy we leave behind. So with these words, my invitation to all of you, please come in oil and gas as well. Probably the technology AI ML uses is more in, I can tell you something that in 3-4 areas we had used ML for AI for our well location, one location release, accuracy was fine 99%. So now we are also very encouraged to use AI as much as possible, but we need tons of resource, tons of effort to deliver the best for the country to become Viksit Bharat and also to become net zero by 2070. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Singh. Thank you for calling out that energy is not just a resource, it is the very bloodstream of our innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, we now invite Shri Amardeep Singh Bhatia, Secretary, DPIIT, to the dais to address us all.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister of State, Shri Rajesh Nambiar, President Mahakumbh, Shri Sanjay Narayan, President of India, Shri Mittal, CMD Shri Yadav, Jen, Srishti, Ambasta, Chairman ECGC, Sri Chairman Marangina, and we have second edition of startup. This time, the scale on which this has been organized is much bigger, 2 to 3x the event which was organized last time. And the organizing committee, along with my team of officers in DPIT, they have extremely hard work in bringing together this large group of startups, the incubators, the venture capitalists, and everyone else in the ecosystem. So I think they deserve a big round of applause. In addition to all of you, I would also like to mention that we have Mr. Mahakumbh and his team from World Intellectual Property are here. If you can stand up and kindly, so they have come here. This is the 50th year of accession, India's accession to the WIPO, and they have come here especially to participate in the startup Mahakumbh. And we've had some very fruitful discussions yesterday. Some of my preceding speakers, they mentioned about the need for innovation and the importance of innovation, especially in the context of startups. We had some very good conversations yesterday on what needs to be done in the years to come. How do we provide access to whatever technology is already available, whatever IPs are already available? How do we provide through analytics and easy access to the global platform which WIPO has in an easier manner, so that they can also use that knowledge and information available. I hope you will have a good stay, and also our startups will be able to benefit from the WIPO experience. Friends, DPIT has focused in its last almost 10 years in promoting the startup ecosystem, in creating that enabling environment so that the entire cycle that the startup has, right from the very start, by providing seed capital, by providing an ecosystem for capital to flow in, venture capital to flow in through its 3 schemes, and also loans to come in. We have the scheme of the seed fund, we have the scheme of guarantee scheme, we have the fund of funds scheme for startups. This has helped in bringing a lot of funds to the startup. But in addition to this, there are a number of other enablers which have been put in place by way of reducing compliance burden, by way of providing certain exemptions from various regulatory provisions, which has helped startups to grow, which has also enabled different ecosystems to come up in other departments of the government, vertical systems, focused at sectors, like Mr. Bhalu was in government procurement also, the vision of startup runway, so that the startups can take advantage of demand aggregation, or take advantage of demand which is generated within the government to provide the products and services that they are innovatively developing. More than all this, the department provides a place where startups can come and share their challenges, where they find a friend who is there to listen. We have a startup hub where anyone can come share their challenges, and some of them are resolved. Not all are resolvable. Some startups have to take on their own some challenges, but quite a lot of these we also try to work with them and solve these. We have had great success in the D2C space, but there's a lot more needs to be done. One of the areas where we need greater focus in the startup ecosystem is in the manufacturing space. Government has had a lot of focus on manufacturing. We have, if you see this year's budget announcements, also budget speech, we have announced for setting up a manufacturing mission. We have a number of schemes which are focused specifically on manufacturing. The Make in India initiative has been going on for 10 years. It has helped us increase manufacturing in the country. There's a lot more to be done. We have actually been growing in the manufacturing space at a greater pace than the world average. And also the largest manufacturing country. In the world, last 10 years growth, if you see, India's growth is higher than the growth which has taken place. But we need to grow faster. We have to reach that 7 trillion target which somebody talked about. We have, in order to meet that, manufacturing is an area where a lot needs to be done. So that's the area where we would like startups to focus on. And I'm happy to note that there are islands of excellence which are coming up in the various startup hubs across the country, whether it is Hyderabad, whether it is Bangalore, whether it is Mumbai, Gurgaon, Noida. So it's encouraging to see the shift happening towards manufacturing, towards technology-based, deep technology-based, R&D-based startups, sectorally and otherwise also. We need startups to innovate and disrupt. We need startups to wake up the sleeping giants and also assist them to perform better. Towards this direction, the department has also taken certain other steps. We have been encouraging companies. We have been encouraging companies to collaborate with startups. Towards this direction, we had a number of memorandum of understanding where we have been pushing companies. We've had memorandum of understanding with companies. I don't know how many companies, Sanjeev, we have had? Around 70 companies we've already had memorandum of understanding. We are pushing companies to provide their infrastructure, provide their testing labs, providing support in other ways, so that startups can take advantage of the expertise of these large companies, but at the same time help solve their problems. Like Chairman ONGC was saying, there are a number of problems, number of issues where if they participate, it's not only the startups will benefit, but also the larger economy as well as the companies will benefit. And towards this direction, we also launched the Grand Challenge. This Grand Challenge also encourages companies to, like Chairman ONGC was saying, encourages companies to pose problems, issues that they are facing to startups, asking them to solve it. And we are happy to note that almost 60 crore is committed. Almost 60 crore has been committed in a short time since we've launched it. And companies have been very enthusiastic. I'm very sure the startup will also take advantage of this and plug into solving the problem and also grow at the same time. Grow through creation, IP, grow through providing solutions. ONGC, for example, like he was saying, 1% change in the efficiency in the extraction can create a lot of value for the company and also provide for the startups. This Bharat Startup Mahakumbh has more than 3,000 startups which are participating. We have more than 60 countries which are participating. We have participants from government also. We have participants from industry also, academia also. Number of and all of you will be able to partake of whatever knowledge and also network as well as see what are the business opportunities and ideas which from here then go back to the drawing boards and contribute towards nation building and the goal of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your leadership as well as your guidance in helping this Mahakumbh of innovation come together as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to invite on stage to give the keynote Shri Jitin Prasad, Honorable Union Minister of State for Commerce and Industry and Electronics and Information Technology. Please invite them with a thunderous round of applause.
Thank you. I welcome everybody here for this Startup Mahakumbh, and on the dais with me, we just heard the Secretary of our department, Kamardeep Singh Bhatia, our CEO, GEM, Sri Ajay Badu, Sri Manoj Mittal, Chairman and Managing Director, SIDBI, Sri Arun Singh, Chairman, ONGC, Sri Rajesh Nambiar, President, NASCOM, Sri Sanjay Nair, President, ASSOCHAM, Sri Srish Raj Ambastha, Chairman, EGCC, Sri Satyanarayan Meena, the Additional CEO of GEM, and in front of me, all the leading lights, the innovators, the startup champions, our friends from overseas, and of course the media, and all participants who are here. And I know it's about an hour now, and you have heard all the leading lights here on stage and their views. So you must have been pretty much immersed in that the Mahakumbh. For my foreign participants, we just had this, the real Kumbh in Prayagraj where I belong, the state that I belong to. So that Mahakumbh is the congregation, like it's got numbers we've never seen. And so we want to have the same kind of congregation for startups and make India that hub for the world to see. And I must tell you, the beginning why I was late was because the parliament was on till 3 o'clock in the night. And for those of you who think that the politicians don't work, so we were there legislating until 3 in the morning. And this was for reforms which India badly needs. And I'm here, I'm very hopeful that you, that startup community of innovators and the new ideas that you bring to the table, you will also fulfill the Prime Minister's ambition